Hey family, this is CT Speaks. I am back for another edition of The Shift. We are shifting. We are in the second quarter of 2024. And on this segment, I am going to be talking about the rediscovery of self. The rediscovery of self. You know, what I found even with myself personally, when you start tapping into who you are, uniquely who you are, and start to own who you are and start to walk in who you are. It is a very liberating experience. It's a very freeing experience. So the rediscovery of self is what we're going to talk about tonight. How have everyone been doing? We are 15 days into the second quarter of the year, 15 days in. And I wanted to have this conversation on the 15th day. We were kind of really in the middle of the month, really right now. And I want to make sure that we are all reminding ourselves of who we are, what our capabilities are, and what we can be walking into. So when we look at the word rediscovery, it means the action or the process of discovering again. And also it talks about rediscovering something that may have been forgotten or ignored. And sometimes, and this is even for those that are caretakers of a loved one or a guardian, or you're doing for others. And there's nothing wrong with doing for others. I'm all about helping others. But sometimes in the process of us doing, sometimes we forget the things we need to do for ourselves, and we ignore those things that will ultimately keep us on fire and very passionate about our calling and our purpose for our life. So we have to stay plugged in. We have to stay in tune with ourselves, right? In terms of moving forward into the next direction of our life, moving forward into the direction of our dreams, right? When we look at the word discovery, it also means to get back. It means to reclaim. It means to recoup. It means to regain or to repair or to rescue or to restore or to resume. It means to retrieve, and it means to salvage. I love all of these descriptive words about the word rediscovery. What word do you connect with? Again, rediscovery means get back, reclaim, recoup, regain, repair, rescue, restore, resume, retrieve, and salvage. Sometimes we have to get back into position. If we feel that we are not in an alignment, we have to get back into position with our purpose. We have to focus on not what is, not on what was, but on what shall be. And sometimes we live in the land of what was, and we live in the land of what is, and we don't put our energy into what shall be, right? So when I was looking up the word rediscovery, another word popped up. It said renaissance. When someone's going through a rediscovery process, they're going through a renaissance. And so when I looked up the word renaissance, it said the revival of blank, blank, blank. You fill in the blank, dot, dot, dot. You fill in the dots. It's time for a renaissance in our lives. It's time for a renaissance in our community. It's time for a renaissance in our business. It's a time for a renaissance in the workplace. It is time for a revival. When I looked up the word rediscovery, another descriptive word that popped up was resurgence. Resurgence. And I also saw revitalization, revival, right? Bringing again into activity and prominence. Sometimes because life be life, and as they say, we a lot of times slow down our productivity. We slow down our activity that equals and that could propel us forward into the direction of our dreams. But sometimes we get into this stagnant state of being. And if we're in a stagnant state of being, we are not active. And if we're not active, we're not producing. We're not producing at the capacity in which we could. Sometimes we are producing. Like there's been moments of my life I've been producing, but am I producing at a optimum capacity? And I had to have a reality check with self. That's another thing. When you're going through the rediscovery process of self, you have to have a reality check with yourself, and you have to come to terms with who you are, you know, areas that you're deficient in, areas that you need growth in, right? So that way you can continue to be, how they say, all that you should be, or all that you have the capabilities of being. I had said this to a person. I said, I do not want to get of elderly age and I still feel so full with all the gifts and the talents that's just inside me. I don't want that feeling. Sometimes you talk to an elder and some of them could be disgruntled, angry, bitter energy, and it's just like, oh, what is wrong? Because they still have all those gifts and talents in them, and sometimes they didn't actively pursue it. They didn't actively execute. They wasn't active in their purpose for their life. So I said, no. I cannot live that life. I must exhaust everything that's on the inside of me. Now, again, time and seasons is very important. I'm not saying I'm going to do all the things that I desire to do in one moment, because it may not be appropriate, right? Timing is everything. Also, when you're walking into your purpose and you're walking into your next season, you got to know what season you're in, and in that season, what are you actually supposed to be doing, right? The word rediscovery, another descriptive word, said a spiritual enlightenment causing a person to lead them to a new life. Sometimes we need a spiritual enlightenment. Sometimes we need to really get connected. Personally, myself, I've been praying and I've been really getting connected with God in terms of what direction I need to go in for my life, and being in tune with who I am. What have I been uniquely created to do? See, when you rediscover yourself and you tap into who you are uniquely created to be, you don't have to covet nobody. You don't have to covet what someone else has. You don't have to wish, I wish I had it like that person. You don't know what another person has gone through, first of all, okay? So when you tap into who you are and you rediscover yourself, you will not have to covet what another person has. You will want to be in an alignment with who you are and walk into your own purpose. When you look at the word self, the definition of self means a person that is essential. It's a person that's distinguished and set apart from others, right? It went on to say a person or an object can be considered set apart and different, right? So self is oftentimes equated with something or someone that is distinguished. They're set apart from the rest. Something is different about that person by the way they talk, their walk, their attitude, their demeanor. You can just tell by the way someone walks in a room. You can feel their energy. You can feel their vibe. Is like a lot of times people say, I feel your vibe. What vibes are you giving off when you walk into the room? Right? And sometimes when you walk into a space, maybe the atmosphere is not set in a positive way. So sometimes we got to bring that vibe, that positive energy in that space. But also we got to understand where we're supposed to be, when we're supposed to be there, and why we're supposed to be there. Perhaps it's not our assignment to recharge that room, because if we spend all our energy recharging a space that we weren't supposed to be recharging, now we're depleted. And that's something I had to learn for myself. Where am I supposed to be? When am I supposed to be there? And why am I there? Why is very important. Why am I there? When am I supposed to be there? And what purpose am I supposed to serve while I'm there? Right? When you look at the word identity, it means the fact of being who or what a person or thing is. So what identifies you? If somebody were to ask you, what is that unique thing that identifies you to be who you are, right? What would you say? What identifies you? What sets you apart? Identity is mostly common used and described for personal identity. It is oftentimes something very distinct, a very distinct quality about yourself. It is a trait, right? It is a unique ability that maybe you have that no one else has. And so we have to identify what are our strong abilities, and we have weaknesses. I have weaknesses. We all do. And sometimes we're like, oh no, I got it wrapped tight. No. We are not all crossing the T's and dotting every I. I know I don't. So I have to look within myself and say, okay, self, what am I strong at? What am I not strong at? In areas that I'm not strong, I need to collaborate. I need to partner. I need to connect with someone that can fill that void. When you look at the word identity, it also means self-concept and self-image. And it also means self-esteem. So when you think of yourself, what kind of concept do you think of when you think of who you are? What is your self-image? What does your self-image look like to you? Right? And then your self-esteem. Where's your thinking as it relates to your self-esteem or how you view yourself? You see, because many people can say things to you, about you, or you overhear whatever is being said. The thing is, You can't worry about what other people think. And I know this is a common term that's said often, and this is something I had to work on. But when you get into yourself and you rediscover who you are and you tap into who you are, your self-esteem is going to be at 100. And nobody can take it down unless you allow them to take it down. No one can say who you are when you know you're not that, right? Own who you are, walk in who you are. When you walk in who you are, you're walking into a new season. When I looked up season, it says season is, even in the scripture, it references it is an appointed time or an occasion. And in the scripture, it highlighted King Solomon in the verses how it talked about to everything there is a season. There's an appointed time for every aspect of your life, and you must recognize the new season. There's a point in time, and sometimes we get disgruntled if we feel things are not manifesting as quick. I know I've been there before. I think everybody probably have been. But maturity has to kick in at some point. Wisdom has to kick in at some point, right? Growth has to kick in at some point. And when it kicks in, we have to say to ourselves, is this my appointed time? And be happy for those when it is their appointed time. Don't be upset, because you know your time is coming. As long as you're doing that consistent activity with whatever your goals, your dreams, your business model, the key word is consistency, okay? We can't be 1 foot in one day trying to build something and think it's going to mushroom and turn into this big beautiful outcome if we're not doing the daily activity. That's just not realistic. But if you're doing the daily activity, trust and believe your due season is coming. Trust and believe your appointed time is coming. When we look at the word season, oftentimes we can think about in the 4 times of the year in the natural, right? We have spring, summer, autumn, and winter. What season are you in? Would you consider yourself to be in the spring season of your life, the summer season, autumn, winter, or do you feel it's a combination going on in your world, right? Take some time. And the only way you're going to be able to take some time is if you take time out for yourself. I was talking a couple days ago, and I was talking about in the quiet place. Sometimes we got to get in the quiet place and get away, and you can't have anything else around you. You just need to get into that quiet place for yourself and to rediscover self. Understand that your appointed time is coming, but when it comes, you need to be ready and prepared. And sometimes that's why we haven't walked into our fullness yet, because we still need to work on ourselves. And I know with me, I'm working on myself every single day. I'm going through this transformation process personally. And even as I'm going through this transformation process, I am detoxing. I am working consciously on my mindset. So that way, when I do get to where I need to get to, I'm just taking the ball and I'm running with it. There's no fumbling, right? There's no guessing what is the next step I'm supposed to take. I'm ready to go because I took the time to be prepared. When we look at the word season, right? The word season is derived from an old French word. And when I looked up with the old French, the root word, it said it means planting, sowing and planting. And so when you think about, everybody wants to get into the season where things are just being poured out on them and showered on them, and you're entering into this massive season of growth and expansion. But the question you have to ask yourself is the same question I had to ask myself. Did I take the proper time to sow? Did I take the proper time to plant so that I could get the harvest that I desired, right? Sometimes we are not consistent in the sowing and the planting, and then we think it's supposed to be this great outcome. That's not realistic. And sometimes we have to have these realistic conversations with ourselves and come to terms with where we are. There's a quote that says, optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. And that was a quote by Helen Keller. I'm going to say it again. Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Sometimes we may be on our path and we feel as though nothing is materializing, but we have to check our faith. We have to check our attitude. Optimism is a state of being. It's a way of being. To be optimistic doesn't mean you don't have challenges around you, but you be optimistic in spite of the challenges, and it's coupled with your faith, and you're going to see the achievement. You're going to see the outcome that you desire. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. There's another quote by Jim Rohn that says, either you run the day or the day runs you. So it's your choice. Do you want the day to run you, or are you going to run the day? There's another quote by H.G. Wells. It says, if you fell down yesterday, stand up today. If you fell down, stand up. There's a Chinese proverb. You fall down, I think it says fall down 7 times, get up 8. right? So no matter how many times you fell down, you can always get back up and rediscover who you are. As you rediscover who you are, you may have to share the news with anyone in your close circle. Like, listen, that's who I was, but that's not who I am now. There's a quote by Zig Ziglar that says, what you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. Let me say that again. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving it. See, you have to go through a process, and it's a training process. What you go through as you go through your you are becoming something. What are you becoming? And sometimes we don't like the hard moments of life, the challenges of life, but that is where you become into your fullness. That is how you grow. That is how you grow into another level of wisdom and maturity and stability in your own mindset and stability in who you are. There's a quote by Maya Angelou, and it says, we may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. I want to speak life to someone that's listening to this podcast, that I don't care what life has thrown at you. It may have thrown you some curveballs. Some of the things thrown at you may have knocked you down or knocked the very wind out of you. You feel like, I cannot go forward anymore. But I want to encourage you. You may have encountered many defeats, but you must not be defeated. And then there's a quote by Franklin Roosevelt that says, when you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. Listen, no matter where you may be at in your life, I just wanted to pop on and just share this brief moment of inspiration that you are entering into a season where you're going to rediscover who you are. You're going to rediscover yourself. You're going to tap back into who you are. Again, let's go back to those descriptive words of rediscovery. It means to get back. It means to reclaim. It means to recoup. It means to regain. It means to repair. It means to rescue. It means to restore. It means to resume, retrieve, and salvage. Sometimes we're doing this for everyone else, but we need to pause in this season and do it for ourselves. We're entering into the Renaissance season of our life. And again, Renaissance, when I looked it up, it meant the revival of ... You fill in a blank. Self is who you are uniquely, exclusively, one of a kind. And that is what you are. You are unique, you are exclusive, and you are one of a kind. And you're about to enter into the season where those different little areas of your life that you felt there was so many holes, it's about to be repaired. It's about to be restored. You're about to be rescued, but not someone else rescuing you. You're going to rescue yourself, because you're going to take some quiet time, quality time with self. And as you take that quality time with self, you're going to be able to reclaim who you are, and you're going to be able to walk into purpose. You're not going to have your head down, but you're going to hold your head up. And you're going to use every single thing, every stumbling block, every stone that was thrown at you. And you're going to be able to not throw it back at anybody, but you're going to use it, and you're going to stand tall on it. And you're going to proclaim who you are now. This is maybe who you knew me from the past, back in the day, from before. But this is not, I repeat, this is not who I am now. And so as you continue to go through your rediscovery process, I would love to connect with you, build with you. For those of you that don't know, I am Catherine Trotter. I am a business strategist. I would love to work with you if you're trying to, reorganize your business, right? Reorganize is another word. Give me a call, 443-799-6529. And ladies, we're doing something special this Saturday, the 20th of April at 12 noon at the studio. SEN Studio. It is a self-care day, and it's no cover charge. Come on out, 3000 Chestnut Avenue, Suite 100D. I would love for you to be a part of it. We're going to get recharged, and we're going to do some steal away time, some quiet time, so that way we can be all that we need to be and walk fully into our purpose. I'm going to see you at the top. To learn more about me, check out my website, www.catherinetrotter.com, and I look forward to working with you.